I know, I look like shit. But forgive me, I've still been sick, or I got sick again. Don't know what it is, a regular cold, flu, COVID-19. Who bloody well knows? But I'm still dealing with it, still trying to get over it. But news still keeps coming out. And even though there's no football, still more football news. And a player who I never thought we'd be linked with, Matty Longstaff. That is right. And this is my first impression of Matty Longstaff when I first saw this news popped up.
Oh no! Bloody no! I can't believe it! It's the bloody Ginger Longstaff! It's his younger brother! I can't believe it!
Wow. This guy? Matty Longstaff, Newcastle. Like, I mean, just... I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was actually any news about it. But it's now Tuesday evening and the story's still there. There are some reasons why the story is still lingering around the place. Well, couple of reasons. One being that everybody knows right now Arsenal are in a position where we are not in the realm of where we're signing players just like that, like how a Man City or a Chelsea are going to be doing when the season is finished and we get into a new transfer window. Arsenal need to be very frugal with the little money that they have and probably got to be smart. So if you don't know that Matty Longstaff contract is running out at the end of the season, and he is in England under 23 international, I believe, plays mainly between like a defensive midfielder and a central midfield player. And, you know, just as you saw from my clip earlier on, you know, he's had a pretty good season. Kind of was brought into the fold by Steve Bruce, especially, you know, and his brother, Sean Longstaff, who looks to be a really good player and has been the player that everybody has kind of been rumoured with kind of the transfer. So when Matty was kind of linked to Arsenal, it definitely was a surprise for me, but definitely not a surprise because Arsenal do need to bolster their squad. And when you're looking at the kind of free agents that are out there right now, this is an opportunity for Arsenal to really capitalise on the free agents that's out there and really look at seeing who they might be interested in going out to get. Matty Longstaff is one. Ryan Fraser is still out there as well, even though I do have my reservations about his attitude, especially hearing on how his form has dipped over this past season and why that is because of the interest with Arsenal. So you just never know. But then secondly of all, let's look at the players whose contracts are kind of coming up over, like at the very least ending over the next year, 2 years and 3 years time, and what Arsenal need to kind of start planning for that future. So when we're talking end of contract players, 2021, these are the big hitters whose contracts end in 2021 for Arsenal. Aubameyang, Ozil, Socrates, David Luiz, and Shkodran Mustafi. I'm telling you this right now. If you're an Arsenal fan or just a general football fan that's looking at potential transfers for your club and you're watching this video at some point in the future, I honestly think only one of those players will probably be staying if they don't sign a new contract. And the only players I see getting new contracts or being offered new contracts is Aubameyang and David Luiz. I still think that Aubameyang is going to leave in the summer, especially if a club like Real Madrid or Barcelona comes in for him. He's always said it. He wants to play for the top Spanish sides in Europe. Barcelona and Real Madrid has never really distinguished between the top two, but he's always wanted to play for them. And if one of them does come in, which the rumour has been over the past 24 hours that Barcelona are interested in him, you know, those aren't going away. I talked about it last summer, and that was with Lacazette as well. So it's going to be a situation whereby if one of those clubs come in, he's gone. There leaves Ozil, and for me, I'm happy to see him go. Ozil, we've moved on from Özil. We don't need Özil in the side. Socrates, again, when we signed him, he was a stopgap player. He was a player that allowed us to get through a certain period of time. And now it's time to kind of bring in the youth and the younger players to come in. Bring in the Rob Holdens, the Callum Chambers, the William Salibas, maybe someone like Zach Medley, Daniel Ballard from our academy. Maybe it's their opportunity, or Mavropanos. Maybe he has an opportunity to come in that centre back position. But one thing's to say, even though we don't know what's going to happen in the future, Socrates was just there to allow those players to develop and to get up to a certain point, and then Socrates will eventually say our goodbyes there. And the only person I would say is going to get the contract is David Luiz, and that's only because you can see the leadership qualities that David Luiz has. You can see that there's a lot of people in that squad that look up to him, and that's something that Arsenal just haven't had. I mean, when you look at this side now on the players that we have in our squad, David Luiz is one of the most, if not the most successful player Arsenal have in the side right now. Like, he's won everything in the Premier League. Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, World Club Cup, Champions League, Europa League, I believe. Like, he's done it all. I know it was with Chelsea, but, he could bring that mentality onto the side. And there are times when I've seen him play this season where he looks like he's trying to kind of, sort of the way how Koscielny, when he was here, used to try to do with Arsenal when we needed it. So I could see David Luiz getting a new contract, maybe another year or two, depending on how things go. And then finally, you got Shkodran Mustafi, whose contract runs out in 2021. But I think the time's up for Shkodran Mustafi. I think the good work he's done this season, I think this is going to be a platform for him to then find a new club at some point in the future. I don't see Arsenal offering him a new contract, especially, again, what I've said with all of the young centre-backs that Arsenal have coming through as well. And then when you look at 2022 and look at some of the players there that's into their last year, their contract, and why a player like Matty Longstaff maybe isn't a bad shout. I mean, Guendouzi's contract runs out in 2022. Lacazette's contract runs out in 2022. Kolasinac, Callum Chambers, and Emiliano Martinez contract also run out in 2022. And then in 2023, you got Torreira's contract runs out in 2023. So I know that's a while away now in 3 years' time. But when you're looking at when are you going to sell a player, like, if a player's contract runs out in 2022, in order for you to get the best, a good amount of money for them, you really want to be selling them right now in 2020, or at least January of 2021. So, I mean, the players there that are at risk of being sold are like Callum Chambers, Emiliano Martinez, Kolasinac, Guendouzi, Lacazette, Mustafi, David Luiz, Socrates, Ozil, and Aubameyang. And out of all of them, I probably see only Guendouzi staying, Callum Chambers staying, and David Luiz. And I think the rest of them, Martinez, I think if an offer comes in for him, he'll be gone, like a good offer. Lacazette, I could see a good offer for him being gone. Mustafi, they'll all be gone. So we really do need to replenish. And even though I've had a bit of a laugh on Matty, why not? Let's see how it goes. And then finally, a player who hadn't really heard of, Edouard Odsonne from Celtic, striker, can also play as a right winger, plays in the Scottish League for Celtic, French player, formerly of PSG, really good prospect when he was at PSG, and you know what, he's gone to Celtic and he's performed really, really well. And I think the relationship that Celtic and PSG have with one another has really helped someone like Odsonne in his development going forward. And now a club like Arsenal are looking at him for potentially being a striker. So Could he be the type of player that we could be looking at to replace an Aubameyang? Like, I mean, I've said this time and time again. I don't think there's any replacement for Aubameyang, like, at all. There isn't a one striker out there that Arsenal could get for 50, 60 mil. It just isn't there. Two players that Arsenal could get to maybe get Aubameyang, yes, but you're not going to get an Aubameyang, even players that are half as worth of Aubameyang, and combine that together to equal 60 mil. So this is probably one for whether Arteta and the club feels that they could develop Odsonne to be a player of the future. And I mean, he has scored a lot of goals, 26 goals, if I'm not correct. Is what he scored so far this season, and the season isn't even over. I know we're all on this football's getting cancelled at the moment, but I mean he's done very, very well there in the Scottish League. But we have to put it in some perspective. It is the Scottish League, and goals up there are like dog ears. So everything is definitely a lot more inflated. Don't know what he could potentially do in the Premier League like it happens at all, and it's probably going to be one of those situations where me personally, I'm going to have to watch him play to be able to say, oh yeah, potentially he could work, see if he's a bit of a one-trick pony. But if we're looking at the numbers and if we're looking at the pedigree from where he first came from, he looks like a very good signing, and a lot of clubs are interested in him. Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool are also looking at him as well. So there are a lot of clubs looking at Edouard Odsonne, and it's one of those where we just gotta wait and see. Wait and see how things go in the summer. Wait and see where Arsenal finish. Hopefully we still manage to finish in a European spot. And I know everybody's thinking, no European football, but listen, like, we need European football. Like, we really do. Like, we are not strong enough to play outside of Europe financially and have a strong squad outside of Europe and then try to go for the Premier League. I know Chelsea did it, but they already had a squad that was capable of winning the league, and had won trophies the season before that. But let's see what goes there. But guys, leave your comments below on what do you think on everything I said on Edouard Odsonne, and what do you think on everything in regards to Matty Longstaff, and how does this all fit in with some of the potential contracts that are running out at the end of next season and the season after that? Do you think he's a good shout, or do you think he's just a pile of shit? Leave your comments below, and I will see you all next time. Peace.